Okay, hi everyone. This is a new video interview with a VA called Gemma Walton. Gemma did my VA course last year, and looking at the figures, she started on the 16th of May and finished on the 11th of November. So it was 6 months and 5 sessions, and then Gemma was a VA. So over to Gemma. If you could just tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, your background, etc., and sort of set the scene here, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay, so hi everybody. I feel like I'm on news at 10 right now, being interviewed or something serious. So I'm originally from Sheffield, lived there for 20 odd years, moved to Leeds for a job, funnily enough, about 3 years ago. I did an English degree at uni, and kind of thought, right, where do I go with that? And sort of fell into being a PA, really. Worked on a reception desk and ended up doing it for 10 years. And I've worked for big companies and small companies, worked for a utility, for an electronics company, for a car manufacturer, so right across the board. Yeah, and now a VA, which is dead exciting. Personal life-wise, which I always forget, I'm 31 and I'm getting married in 2 months to a chap called Mike, which is all very exciting, but I can't be bothered to organise it because I'm too into organising at work and not enough at home. Yeah, so that's me really.
Excellent. And before you came to me, what was it that made you decide to become a freelancer? What was the trigger there?
Um, I was working in a job that was really full on, for a global company, and they got offices at either end of the world, so Chicago to Singapore. So it was kind of 24 hours a day, constantly answering emails. I mean, the lady I worked for was fantastic, but she would say now it was a heck of a job, and it 2.5 years it kind of took over my life really. And I just thought, I think I said in my written interview, I just used to sit and stare out the window and think, I don't want to be here. I want to be doing things for myself. I want more flexibility, less stress. Haha, not that you ever get that, but I just wanted to change and to see some of the world and a bit of sunshine every now and again, and also to do a variety of work, because so much of what I was doing was for the same person every day. Um, Sorry, my phone's just falling off.
That's okay.
For the same person every day. Yeah, same things over and over again. I never really used my brain, even though it's stressful. I never did anything new. So that was the catalyst, really. I just thought I've got to go for it.
Cool. And so you've been a VA about 5.5 months now.
Yeah.
And what kind of services do you offer to what types of people? What do you do?
I kind of have a niche client, but not a niche service that I offer. So I do general VA services right across the board, do social media, do a little bit of design work, which came about by accident actually, things like infographics and that sort of stuff. And then I do traditional diary management, documents, presentations, all that jazz. And I tend to work mainly with HR consultants, just because that's my background. My last 2.5 years, the company I worked for before was for an HRD, and it's kind of what I can talk about with confidence. But I've got, a solicitor that I work with. I've got a real broad range of clients, and I do a million and one things, which I guess proves that you don't need a niche necessarily.
Excellent. That's really good. I try and explain this to people that, if you have one, then go for it. Go for the low-hanging fruit. But otherwise, just start up, help people, and then see what it is that you like doing, what you get asked to do most, and then sort of move your business sideways a little bit. How many clients do you have? What sort of stuff do you do for them?
I've got 16 clients at the moment.
Have you? Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And counting. Yeah, so they're not all regular clients. I'd probably say I've got 8 that come to me every week. And then I've got one, that came to me twice and I haven't seen him for 3 months. So it's kind of a broad group. But what do I do for them? So this week I've organised a workshop for somebody in London, which I get to go to, which is quite cool. I've booked lots and lots of travel, hotels, rail, all that kind of thing, which I said when I started my VA business, I wasn't going to do that. But actually booking for various clients is kind of easier because you're not locked into a company travel system. They don't phone you if the flight's delayed or whatever, because all you're there to do is book for them. It's on them to kind of sort it out. What else have I done this week? I've formatted a presentation for somebody that they just said, I don't know how to use PowerPoint. I don't know what I'm doing with Prezi. What do you think and what do you know? And a new thing for me yesterday, I set up somebody's Google Plus page, which was cool, because I've now got my own Google Plus as well. I used it to to kind of benefit me. So yeah, that's what
Perfect.
I do.
The good thing to do as well is remember that every time you do something new, to add it to your list of services or list of competencies on LinkedIn and websites, so because otherwise you kind of forget sometimes. You think, oh my God, I know all these new things. Are you surprised at the kind of things that people have asked you to do? Is that what you expected before you became a VA?
Yeah, I'm constantly surprised. I thought there'd be a lot more traditional PA work, if you want, and it's kind of a whole different skill set. Some of it's the same and obviously transferable. I mean, if you've got a good head on your shoulders, as most PAs do, then you can be a VA, no problem. But a lot of it is social media based, which I didn't expect because it's not something that I promoted. But a lot of people have said, I've seen your Twitter, I've seen your Facebook, can you help me with that? And a lot of it is creative work, which is great, but I'd never done anything like that. So someone said to me, can you design a logo? Can you design me an infographic? I want to do a pop-up banner. Can you do a draft for the printer of what it might look like? So that's kind of been fun and really different.
So what happened then? Because if you'd never done one before, how did you, obviously you said yes, but did you just then Google it and find out, or?
Yeah, I was honest with the client. I said I've never done design, and then I googled it to find a program. I use for infographics. I use Pictochart, and for graphics, I know a lot of people use Canva, but I just use PicMonkey.
Yeah, I use both of those. They're both good.
Yeah, either that or if I'm desperate, I draw it up in PowerPoint on a slide, because that's quick if you don't know what you're doing with the other programs. Yeah, so I just worked it out really. And obviously it never looks like the finished product, but the client kind of tweaks it, and that's hard actually. The client tweaks things because design's kind of an ongoing process. So
Yeah.
you never hit the mark first time, and I found that quite tricky.
Mm.
Not getting the right answer. But yeah, it's taught me a heap of new skills that I never expected to learn.
Excellent. That's good to know that, because the other two, VAs that I've interviewed, they didn't get any of that. So they didn't have to, learn this whole new skill set or, go out of their comfort zone in a way to do that. So that's really good to know. I've never been asked to do either of those two things actually, but yeah, I would have just worked it out. And I also would have said, I'm not a designer. They do need to go to a designer and pay big money if they want something really kind of slick and professional, because people have gone to design school and they've learned everything, their profession and their skill. But I think that's great where you say, I'm not a designer, but I can do something quite basic or something that will work for you. That's fantastic. Who was your first client, and how did you get them?
My first client, it came as a complete surprise. I just, in about June or July last year, reached out to a guy on LinkedIn, kind of as a test, really. I thought, I wonder if this actually works.
The method I keep telling everyone about LinkedIn. Yeah.
So I just sent him a message. We got shared connections, and I just said, I noticed that we know the same people. You work in the same industry as I have worked in the past. Have you ever considered a VA? And he came back and said, actually, I really need one. I've got 4 different jobs. So he was a portfolio worker, which I guess plays to my business name, which was great. And he said, I can't keep track of anything. I struggle with diary. I struggle with appointments. Can you help? And so I kind of took that on before I quit my job. And did a bit in the evenings and at weekends, and said to him, look, when I quit, I'll let you know, and then we can do a lot more full time. And that was great because he was really patient, and it was a good start because he didn't push me and he wasn't a nightmare client. He was great. So it was it eased me in.
That's great. Did you contact him via LinkedIn, or did you email him separately through the LinkedIn messaging?
Yeah, through LinkedIn messaging.
You did. And where do most of your clients come from? What sort of marketing do you do? What sort of marketing works best for you overall?
I do a lot of face-to-face networking because I just feel like I do better that way. I think a lot of it's about relationship building at first, and people that I've picked up at networking groups have become my longer-term clients. I've had more one-off jobs from people that have contacted me via Twitter and that kind of thing. So yeah, face-to-face is great. I've done a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I've done a couple of things that were just recommendations. Clients of clients or friends of friends, and people that I've hired for things as well have hired me back, which has been quite nice.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
like what have you hired them for?
My web developer hired me back as a VA, so that was fun.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that's funny because one of my trainees, Emma, I'm going to do an interview with her at some point, but she hired Jenny, WebTech Wonder Woman, to do her website, and Jenny hired her.
brilliant.
And she's now Jenny's VA. And actually, because she was so good, Jenny was like, my gosh, she's amazing. I have hired her. So it's funny, isn't it, how yeah, that can work, just using someone else can end up in a client.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the main sort of marketing that works for you,
Yeah,
networking and a
yeah.
bit of
Network
LinkedIn.
the main one, but yeah, the combination. I don't think you can ever ignore one strand. And I find that work comes from the strangest places, so don't ever discount anything. Don't think, oh, I don't really get Twitter, I'd never get any work from it, because somebody might see a tweet that you've retweeted or whatever and contact you. It doesn't necessarily need to be proactive. You can just do a little bit of it, and sometimes it's just enough to get your face out there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. And was getting clients easier or harder than you thought?
It was easier than I thought. It's the bit that was difficult was kind of motivating myself to keep being my own salesman. That was quite hard because it's quite embarrassing at first. Well, it was for me to go, I'm really great and you should hire me, you know. And I charge this and all of that. That was the hard part, being my own cheerleader. The easy bit was that people went, oh yeah, that'd be great, and I kind of thought, oh, I must be doing something right, and maybe I've got something of value. And once you get past that, and once you get over the fear of saying that you're great and people should work with you, it kind of comes more naturally because you can talk with more confidence. You say, I can do this, I am this, rather than, oh, well, I kind of offer this and I might charge this rate. So I found that the more confidence I got, the easier it got to grow my client list. And it keeps growing, which is great. People come to me and I think, oh, I've not really got time for this, but I'm not going to say no, and it just grows and grows and grows. So
Excellent. Oh, that's really, really good. I'm really glad you've said that, actually, because I do know that confidence, especially marketing wise, I think that people, my trainees, as well as regular people on the VA Handbookers group, underestimate how much marketing you have to do. You don't just kind of build a website or write a LinkedIn profile and just wait for people to come to you. Sometimes it does happen. You can start to tell people, and that and that works out. But actually, you do have to put yourself out there. That's
yeah,
kind of how it works. So
yeah.
I'm really glad you said that.
Mm.
What sort of pricing works for you? What sort of how do you charge people?
At the moment, 90% of my clients are charged by the hour. And I'm trying to move away from that longer term. I want to work by the project, like you said. And somebody said to me the other day, actually, how do you make money in your sleep? Which is a really difficult thing to do if you charge by the hour.
Yes.
So that it works for me just because it gives that flexibility. And a lot of my clients have kind of taken a bit of a retainer, but if we go over that, they kind of go back to billing by the hour. But I'm looking in the next few months to move away to do more by the project stuff.
Okay. And how do you manage your clients and set boundaries and things for them? I've often explained to people that doing the work is kind of easy. It's the managing clients and their expectations and dealing with people that I think is actually can be quite difficult, because it's
Yeah.
people, it's people, isn't it? Personalities. So how do you do that?
Somebody asked me this actually, and it's kind of the same as it ever is in any PA job. You're always going to get more than your boss asking for your time. So you'll always get their management team or their direct reports coming to you for things. And it's the same as that. You just kind of have to prioritize what needs to be done desperately and set people's expectations at the start. I think I've had clients say, can you do me this today? But it's not desperate. And I said, well, I can get it to you by Friday then in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And just be really clear when you can get it to them. As long as you stick to that deadline, they're fine about it.
Excellent. And you found that it's been easier if you've set those boundaries out from the beginning,
Yeah.
having terms and conditions, when you get paid, how it all works, how you communicate, etc.
Yeah, it's just absolutely critical, because otherwise you spend half your time fielding questions and inquiries because you've not set your stall out from the off. And people don't know when to get things, and it stresses them out and worries them, and they don't have that confidence in you.
Right. And who is I'm not going to ask you about your nightmare clients, because apparently there may be one, but we don't want to say in case they find you on YouTube. But who's your favorite client, and why are they your favorite client?
My favourite client is a lady that I used to work with when I worked at the utility, and we kind of were ships that pass in the night. She started as I left, and she connected with me on LinkedIn and said, "Look, you keep popping up," which I thought, "Oh, good, I must be doing the right things marketing wise." And she writes awards entries for people. So if they want to enter a specific industry award, she'll kind of work with them to craft the entry. So that's really interesting. I love what she does. It's fascinating. And she's really good because she's clear from the off. I never have to ask her, what do you mean by that? Or what's actually the task? Can we clarify?
Mm-hmm.
She'll say to me, I think this will take a couple of hours, but I'll welcome your advice, which is great because then I know what I'm working with. and everything she sends me is kind of specific. I work well with parameters. If people say to me, "Oh, I might want this," or it might look like this, it I don't know. I find that's where I don't hit the mark as much. But she's really clear. She knows how to use a VA. That's the other thing. So she'll send me everything I need in one email or in Dropbox. She knows how I work. She knows how VAs work in general because she's used them in the past. She's a quick payer. I could go on. She's great. So,
excellent. Yeah, it's exactly the same. My favorite client is also the same. Very clear, knows what they want, has a budget, a parameter, timeline, etc. I don't have to kind of think, well, what does that mean? And yeah, I know at the beginning when I first started out, I got a lot of flaky clients. People that I kind of need you, but I don't really know what for. And I'm sure you get those inquiries as well.
Yeah, I do. And sometimes it's about helping people to realize how you can add value. Which I guess you've written lots of blogs about and things. But it's nice when people say, "I want this. I know you can deliver it. Here's 2 hours, go." It just makes things easier and quicker. So.
Excellent. And how do you manage your time? Do you have a set daily or weekly routine, hours that you work, or anything in particular how you manage your time?
Yeah, I found it tricky to get out of the 9 to 5 trap. So for the first 3 months or so, I was sitting here at 9 o'clock and thinking, right, go, and then finishing at 5. Whereas now I'm trying to think, do you know what, if I take an hour off in the day, it's fine because I'll just work till 6 or I'll work at the weekend. I tend to book meetings in either first thing in the morning, so before 9, or late in the afternoon, or on a Friday, like I think you mentioned before, Joe. Just because if you're sitting in a meeting, you don't want your phone to be going from other clients, and also you don't want to be thinking, I could have been doing X. Do it in the quiet periods naturally. Apart from that, I guess I'm a bit scattergun when it comes to what I do when. I block things out in my calendar if I can and think, right, I'm doing this then, but inevitably other stuff comes in that means you throw it out the window, so I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, that's the same as what I did actually. I would block things out, but I would leave a gap either side and leave gaps of things to drop in because they do. It's something that comes with experience. I think after a while, sometimes you review your own systems and go, I think I might change the way I work. Maybe stuff everything in 4 days a week and take Fridays off. That's quite nice. What did you think being a VA would be like? And were you right? Was there any surprises along the way? Don't know. Is it what you thought it would be?
Yeah, the work is different, I guess. The lifestyle is pretty much what I expected. I think I work more hours now, but it's more fun, it's more interesting, and it's my choice, which is the difference.
Doesn't feel like work, does it? Sometimes.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And
Yeah.
I sat here till 10 o'clock the other night, and Mike said, "Oh my God, you're still working," but it didn't feel like that. I thought, yeah, I am actually, but I didn't notice it.
Yeah, what's it to you?
Yeah, I was on Twitter or on the Facebook group or whatever. But yeah, it's the lifestyle's what I expected. The work is different. So things like the design stuff, I never expected to get that. I never expected to be asked to organise events and go to them, which is fantastic and is a really nice change from what I thought it would be. But not everybody wants to do that. I guess some people want to be 100% virtual. But I think the opportunities that have been open to me to get work have been different than I thought they might be. I thought I'd get traditional exec PA, PA work kind of.
Because that was your background, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought I'd get different clients as well. I thought I'd get suits, if you want. I thought I'd get people, that wanted, Alan Sugar type boardroom PAs. And I haven't. I've got some creative folk, which is fantastic.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And what's the best thing about it so far? Being a freelancer, it looks like you're enjoying it.
Yeah, the best thing is definitely having the freedom to do what you want when you want, within reason. So tomorrow I'm going to try my wedding dress on, and I don't need to ask for permission. I can just go. I manage my clients' expectations. I say, look, I'll be out in the afternoon, so that I don't get 10 phone calls saying, where are you? But apart from that, I can pretty much come and go as I please, which is just such a novelty.
It is a novelty at first, isn't it? You're like, hey, I could go to the cinema this afternoon if I like. Nobody knows.
And you drive down the road and there isn't a queue, and it's like, oh, during the day it's fantastic.
Going to the bank. The bank is open.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely the best. The flexibility is amazing. Really,
excellent. Really. And what's the hardest thing that you've come across so far? What's the most difficult thing?
I think the hardest thing for me was going from an office environment to working by myself. I missed that kind of banter with people. I hate that word, but that chat and kind of having somebody to bounce an idea off and say, what do you think to this? Or do you think I've done the right thing here? Or just to say, do you know what, this person's driving me crazy. So Mike comes in at 5 o'clock now, and I kind of go, rah, or I go, what do you think?
I know you sometimes say stuff in the other Facebook group for the trainees, ex-trainees, etc. You know, I know sometimes you'll say, you know, like you said, a bit about banter. What do you think I should do? This person, do you think they're kind of, you know, their expectations? And I know you occasionally mention this. So has that been a little bit of a, what's the word? It's like a substitution, I guess, for actual office banter.
Yeah, it has, and it just helps to stop you feel like you're going crazy. Because if I sit here all day and don't ask anybody anything, at the end of the day I think, oh, did I do that right? Have I handled that proproperly? And it's just nice if somebody's there going, yeah, you have. Oh, no, you haven't.
No, you haven't. Go back and apologise. Do not go round to burn their house down.
Don't attempt.
Oh, that's funny. So that comes on to my next question, really, which was there anything you missed about corporate life or working in an office? So would you say it's mainly about the banter and bouncing things off people?
Yeah. Apart from that, you know, there's not a lot. It's a different feeling and a different way of working. And I guess the structure might not work for everybody of being a VA, because it's down to you, like I said, to set your own hours, to set your own parameters. If you've got a boss kind of standing behind you going, have you done this? That's easier for some people. And I guess that's why some people quit by the same token. So it's just a different way of working and a different way to motivate yourself.
Okay. And so final question, what are your top 3 tips for anyone thinking of taking the first step into freelancing?
I wrote this down because I'm sad and I wanted
Excellent.
to prepare.
No, go.
So my first one was to think about what's important to you. I guess if you want to be a freelancer, think about why you might want to do it. For me, it was, like I said, to be more flexible, to have more time, and to see outside 4 walls. But if money drives you and regular money drives you, at first it's the wrong reason to go into it, because you know you don't make huge amounts of money from day one. You don't make it regularly from day one, and if that gives you that comfort, then it's not the thing for you. The second one, what did I put? Be your own biggest advocate, I would say, and believe in yourself from the start, because that just held me back massively. I thought, I can't do this. You know, other VAs are brilliant and I'm not going to be great. And if I just thought, you know what, I can do it. I've been doing it for 10 years in a corporate job, so why not? I'd have achieved a lot more. Yeah. And the third one was ask Joe for help, because I would just never have done this without you.
Thank you.
I was in a complete mess. I wouldn't have known where to start, what systems to use, any of that. So take advice where you can, and every way you can. Ask everybody, you know.
Ask everybody. That's really good. I think they're really good answers, actually. Yeah, because with our training, it was a very set structure, wasn't it? Like even with the DIY course, it was a similar. You know, the DIY course is the same structure, except the one-to-one, we get to talk about your individual situation. But it was very much like, you do this, then do this. Don't look at anything else. Just keep your eye on what I'm telling you now, and don't worry about all the other stuff, because, you know, deal with that later, contracts, when you need a contract. Let's get you up and running.
Yeah, and it's kind of about taking it in little portions and going, right, what do I need to do today to get me where I want to go?
Yeah.
Of blocking out noise, but at the same time listening to the right things.
Exactly. That's great. Thank you so much, Gemma, for telling your story. Yeah, as you know, I wanted these video series to be a really good way of people who are considering doing you know, going freelance, to be able to see what types of people are freelancers, how they set up, you know, but their fears are realistic, and that if, you know, Gemma from up north can be a VA, then so can they. You know, I think a lot of people, especially if they come from a PA office background, they're used to being told what to do, used to taking orders, and you know, it's really good for them to see that they can do it too.
Yeah. And you know what? There's infinite work out there and infinite clients, and if I can do it, anybody can. So go for it.
Perfect. That's marvelous. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
And yeah, have a great day.
Yeah. See you soon.
Take care.